Hello everyone and welcome to CS61B tutor review session. My name is Anniyat and today I'm going to go over the question number 2 of the worksheet, ARRAYana and Grande. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to one of the most useful and, in my opinion, coolest tools in 61B, which is the Java Visualizer, provided to us by University of Waterloo. The reason why I think this tool is so cool is because it makes understanding environment variables much easier. Whenever you're preparing for a midterm, I would really advise you to use this tool if you are stuck on DMS or environment variable questions. And yeah, right now I'm going to demonstrate the behavior of this tool while solving the question 2 of the worksheet. Before we begin, let's skim through the code that we have in our foo class. We have two instance variables which are x and y. And after that, we have a public static void main method. And in the main method, we are declaring several variables. Here, we are declaring our variable n. On line number 6, we're declaring two new variables, xx and yy. But yeah, let's take a look at how those variables will look like by pressing the forward button. When you press the forward button, you're going to see all of the variables created on the right side of the screen. As you can see, we have our new variable called n, which is initially equal to 3. If you press forward a few more times, you're going to get two new variables, xx and yy, which are created on line number 6 on the left side of the screen. The reason why our arrays are filled with nulls in the beginning, it's because whenever you're creating a reference object, it will always default to its default value. Sorry for a very confusing explanation, but in Java, essentially, we have a concept of default values, and for reference objects, it means nulls. For integers, it means zeros. For booleans, it also means false, etc., etc. With this knowledge, we can start going over the for loop. In our for loop, we're creating a new variable called I, which is essentially our counter. If our I hits the value n, we're going to exit out of the for loop and go to line number 15. If we press forward, you'll see that we are instantiating a new variable called f, and f is a variable of type foo. Perfect. After you create this variable f, notice how both of these values x and y are initially zeros. This is because, unless otherwise specified, every value in Java will default to its specified value. For integers, like I mentioned before, those are zeros. Now we're going to change f.x to I, and f.x in our case is this variable. We're changing it to the value of I, which is currently 0. So nothing really happens after we execute the lines 10 and 11. After we try to execute the line number 12, we are going to get the following. So both of our indices 0 in our arrays are now pointing to our foo instance. Perfect. Now let's take a look at what happens when our I is equal to 1. First of all, we create a new foo instance. And then we are going to change f.x, which is this variable. And apart from that, we're changing our variable y to the current value of I, which is 1. Let's press forward. Perfect. Now we're changing xx at I, which is going to be this box, to our f. Now notice how we have a pointer from the index 0 to our foo instance. The same happens for our variable yy. On the third iteration, we're creating a new foo instance. Oops, sorry about that. And then we're changing both of its values to 2. And then we're going to repeat the same process, which is changing the pointers at the index 2 of xx and yy to our new foo instance. At this point, notice how our I is already equal to 3. This means that the condition of the for loop, which is I has to be less than n, is broken. Therefore, we're going to exit out of the for loop and go to the next line, which is line number 16. Let's see what's happening in this line. First of all, we create our new variable I, which is initially equal to 0. After that, we execute the line number 17, which multiplies our xx at the index y. So what is this variable? Let me explain. Let's go to xx, and then at index I, we have this foo instance, and we're going to change the y variable of it, which is this variable, to twice of its current value. And of course, since it's already 0, nothing really happens. If we try to change yy at index I, you'll notice that it's actually the same foo instance, and for that reason, nothing will change since this value is also 0. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next iteration of I, and here we are creating, we're not actually creating anything, we're changing xx at index I, which is going to be this object. So we're essentially trying to change this foo instance's y variable to twice its current value, which is going to be 1 multiplied by 2. And then we're changing yy at I dot x, which is this variable, to 3. Perfect. Now we're at the last iteration of our for loop, and our I is equal to 2. After that, we're going to change xx at index I, which points to this foo instance, and now its y value, which is this value, will be twice its current value. Therefore, it will become 4, and the x box will become 2 multiplied by 3, which is 6. At the last iteration of the for loop, we're going to get the following objects, which are xx, yy, and the variable n. And those are the foo instances that our variables will store. Thank you for watching this video.